Hi, I'm Lou Goldstein, and welcome to the second part of my interview with Anthony Uva, the best-selling author of The Secrets of College Planning for Student Athletes, How to Play Your Sport at the School of Your Dreams. Anthony wrote a great book. He is the host of Secrets of College Planning, and he founded University Seekers, a recruiting service to help students across the country get into their dream schools. He is dedicated to using his knowledge and experience to help students attend the college they love and have a future they deserve. So Anthony, thank you again for staying on the show. For those of you who missed part one of our interview, you can go back and get it by looking in the archives. Shame on you for missing it, because it was a great interview. But we're going to continue part two now with Anthony, and we're going to continue talking about planning for college recruiting and when students should get into it. And for those of you watching, let me tell you a little bit about Anthony, for those of you who might have missed him. Anthony was a baseball athlete, both in high school and at the college level, but figured out that he was not a part of the 0.00001% that makes it to the professional level. So he focused his studies on business management. He did form the University Seekers. He's a host of the show on CNJN and on The Secrets of College Planning. His book is out there on Amazon for all of you to read at a very low price of $9.95 or something like that. And basically, Anthony helps all students from 14 to 18 to go to college. And during the show, we'll talk a little bit about how you can be in contact with Anthony for his knowledge and his guidance in case you have questions about the right route to take. And that's what he does. He's devoted his life to making sure that students find the right schools and that are for them, because after all, you have to get a good academic background when you graduate college, knowing that you might be one of the 99.99% that don't make it at the professional level. But anyway, Anthony, it's good for you to stay here and keep talking. I know we talked a lot about this, but for those of us who missed it, tell us a little bit about your book, The Secrets of College Planning. What was your inspiration for it? How you got into the whole, college recruiting business?
So the inspiration about the book was really getting all these college coaches on my TV show and getting an understanding that everybody is basically the same in all the different sports on how they recruit. So I put the book together with the different college coaches, that I'm just giving the questions to them and they're answering those type of questions, and it gives the families a sense of how to go to college, how to get themselves recruited at the college level, all based directly from the college coaches themselves.
Okay, so if you're a student right now and you're entertaining hopefully an athletic scholarship, what's the best part to get started? When should you start in high school trying to promote yourself and getting your name out there?
So it's usually around 8th or ninth grade is when you want to get your name out there and start getting colleges understand who you are, where you are, what you're doing. The focus on the first show in here is been athletics, but there are a lot of academic students out there as well. It's a little bit more competitive to go as an academic student, just to give you a sense, because everyone has got basically the same type of grades, everyone has got the same type of awards, so it's very difficult on the academic side. So if you can always find something a little bit different than someone else, it'll give you more of an advantage to go to college and do something at the college level.
Do you think that ETS used to require, and the colleges used to require, the SAT? And right now the SAT is optional for many, many schools. Do you think that has helped a lot of students by making it optional and just relying on their, high school careers?
Yeah, it's helped a lot of students along the way, because a lot of people are not very good test takers. So it gives them a sense of relief that they don't have to do the SAT and go on to college and then struggle at a particular school. Maybe they didn't do well on the SAT, so they went to a community college. So it just depends on the person and what they're looking for.
Okay. Now, recently we saw some news about individuals who are trying to buy their way. You know, parents who are trying to basically pay for their students to be admitted on athletic scholarships. And, you know, some of those parents did go to jail, you know, serve time, community service, whatever. Is that prevalent right now, to your knowledge, in college recruiting? I mean, there's always a case, right? But is that a prevalent theme right now that colleges are really concerned about?
No, it's just one bad apple that happened to be doing something like that. But you can find out as a parent if a third party is doing something illegal or not. It's pretty simple. The parents that were doing it with this particular gentleman,
Right.
they were writing out a check to his name. If you're writing out a check to someone's name, the odds on it's probably something shady already going on.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is if they say I can get you into any school, it's slim to zero because the universities are the only ones that really can get anybody into the school. So
Right.
anyone telling you that I'll get you into that particular school, it you know, from doing this 30 years in the college recruiting field, nobody can get you into a particular school, not unless you know the president of the university as a good friend of yours, and you know they have a way of getting you into the school. It's impossible. So nobody can do that other than the university themselves, because the university knows what they're looking for.
Right.
They've been around for hundreds of years. They know exactly how many students they have to entertain to get the amount of students that actually have to get accepted into the school,
Right.
that actually come to the school. So, you know, it's a science. It's all based on numbers, and it just depends on where you sit in that number.
Well, talking about that number, I've had a lot of students come to me who didn't understand like why they didn't get into the school of their choice. You know, they had the grades, they had the 3.9, they had the good SAT scores, they had all the community activities and student activities, and you know, basically they had a very strong resume as far as applying to colleges, but yet they didn't get in.
Yeah.
And so, but yet somebody else did. And I think more so parents than the student, you know, they say, well, why didn't my son or daughter get into this school?
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Yeah, it's very difficult to understand what the universities are looking for, but a lot of the universities, the higher and the more well-known the university, the more difficult it becomes. So if you want to go to a school like an Ivy League school,
Yeah.
if you don't have something that someone else doesn't have, you know, the odds on you getting into that school becomes very slim because you become like everyone else. So if I have a 4.0 GPA
Right.
and I do everything like everyone else does, all of these awards and all these extracurricular activities, I'm just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So what the Ivy Leagues look for is that diamond in the rough. To give you an example, there was a girl that worked with a recruiting service that did, in her summer times, was an acrobat in a circus.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about you, but how many acrobats do you know that go to a circus for 3 months in the summer to go work?
Right.
There's not many, right? So what was so different is she did something totally different than what everybody else would be doing, right?
Right.
How many kids of that age would go to a circus and become an acrobat for 3 months? There's not many. So that's what stood her out at the college level. But her 4.0 GPA and all of her awards gave her something different to look at than everyone else that was sending in something. Another one would be building a charity, making your own charity up and making $1 million with that charity. How many kids that are 16, 17 years old going to make a charity that does $1 million in a year?
Right.
It's almost impossible, right? But if you can do it, now you have something over everyone else that might be going to an Ivy League school if you want to go there. So those are the things that families have to look at. They have to start thinking out of the box and saying, well, everybody else does that. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe we should do something else to just give that little bit of something else.
Suppose I don't want to go to an Ivy League school. I just want to go to a good school, and I have good athletics, good academics. But I don't want to go to an Ivy League school. I want to go someplace else to get a college education and play sports. What should I do? What should I look for? Whether it be Division II, Division III, Division I. I mean, and I'm looking at my finances, and I'm saying, you know what? It's really tough on my family. If I can get a scholarship somewhere, that would be wonderful. So how do I go about doing that?
So every school has got a different type of population, right? So if you're going to a school with a large population, 60, 80,000 undergrads, the odds on you getting into that school are probably very good, because to get 60 to 80,000 undergrads at a 4-year college, you need a lot of applications to come in, right?
Okay.
To accept a lot of people, to get close to basically 20,000 students to come to school there as a freshman. But then you have those schools that are smaller, only might take 5,000 kids, 10,000 kids. They don't have as many. So now the odds start to drop a little bit further, right? So you have to take that under consideration and look at the populations of the schools. So a lot of people that have those reach schools have 1 or 2 of those schools that only do 5 or 10,000 students in a school. The odds on you getting into that school, because you have good grades and good academics and so on, you might be able to get into a particular school like that, even with a lot of the extracurricular activities and the same as everyone else. The bigger schools that have 60, 80,000 undergrads, you might use those schools as, I just need that school just so then I can get accepted somewhere. Right? So you want to get into that school automatically, okay? And then use the other schools as just a, let me see if I can get in type of thing. As long as you're going to college, what I found from 260 something episodes on Secrets of College Planning, that's 260 something people that I've interviewed. Everyone except 3 had a different career path after they graduated college. 3 people out of all of them had, I went to this job, I stayed in this job, I grew in this job, I stayed there for 30 years, I retired there, and they had that progression. 3 out of 260 people, that's very little compared to what is out there. So a lot of people are going to go to college, they're going to take a career in college and pick something, and they're going to end up in a job where they're going to say, wow, this job is great, or they're going to say, you know what, I want to change the job and go somewhere else. And then they're in another career, and then they're in another career. And before you know it, you're in 5, 6, 10 different careers. And so you want to get into a school that you fit in, and that you're getting to know the school and know the people at the school. Because this whole thing of life is all about networking. It's all about the people you know and what you're doing and who can help you along the way. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, that is life.
That is life.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So I was reading the book, and congratulations, it's a well-written book.
Thank you.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about those very few. You have a chapter here devoted to, could you simply skip college and go pro in your sport? I think that affects very few people, right? And it talks about mastering your sport and working with the NCAA.
Yeah, so going pro after high school is slim to zero. I mean, how many LeBron Jameses are there in the world? So it's very, very difficult. Can you
Yeah.
do it? Yeah, you can. But where a lot of people go wrong is that if they have the people telling them that they can do it, and then they don't end up doing it, their whole career changes dramatically. So that's on the high school part that goes to the pro part. It's very difficult to jump from high school to pro, and it's really just basketball. I think football. There's 2 or 3 years in football that you have to go to college
Yeah.
before you can go pro.
Okay.
And baseball, you can definitely do it from high school to the pros. But again, very difficult because baseball, they'll throw you in the minor leagues for a
Right.
little while before you even reach the pros.
Right. They'll keep you there for 3, 4, 5 years
Yeah.
as you work your way up from single A to triple A.
And the other question was what? I forgot.
Oh, it was about the NCAA.
Oh, about the NCAA. Yeah, I've been working heavily with the NCAA just through the show to give people an understanding of there's a lot of rules and regulations that they should know about with the NCAA. A lot of people don't realize that they have a site called ncaa.org that you go to and you fill out information so then you can get registered with the NCAA so colleges know that you actually want to play a sport at the college level. So if parents aren't doing that, they're going to get told sooner or later down the road that they're going to have to do that
Right.
to go on to college to play.
Well, you talk a lot about, the University Seekers, the business that you founded. If I was in high school or, my parents wanted to get in touch with you, do you have a website? Do you have a place that I could reach out? Because I know your experience is invaluable after these many decades of doing this. So how would people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can go to universityseekers.com and go there, fill out the information. Someone will give them a call, and then we work with them and help them along the way. It's really just basically like a hand-holding type of environment. It's just to guide them through how to go on through the years of high school to go on to college and play something at the college level. It really isn't anything else to it. It's really just to help them along the way and the guidance for it. A lot of parents, that's what they need. They just want someone that's focused just on their kid
Right.
to help them go on to college and do that. Where a lot of times, a lot of families just don't have the time. You have moms and dads working, and then they put all the burden on their sons and daughters to go find the school. And I remember when I was a teenager, basically you're playing your sport, you're doing schooling, and then you have a lot of drama that goes on in high school, like every other high school, right? So a lot of times kids don't want to do it because they just don't have the time to do it, and then when they're forced to do it, it ends up being something where they're doing it at the very end of their high school career.
Right. And you want to do it the right way, too.
Yeah.
So that's why, the service that you provide to many students over the years is invaluable. So a lot of times, though, we have to talk about students and colleges matching up. We talk a lot about what colleges are looking for. Do you think a lot of times that it's easier for someone who's in a solo sport like swimming to get recruited versus somebody who's in a team sport, like football or soccer, to get recruited?
Yeah, well, it's easier to get recognized because if you're in a time sport, like I told you in the first show, it's all because the times don't lie. Someone is documented in the time. So if,
Right.
in swimming and in track, if you're running that fast and that's the time that's a college level time, the college is going to pick you up to use you because they know you have the time.
Right.
It doesn't lie. A sport like tennis, wins and losses don't lie. So you're there. You're doing it yourself. So it doesn't lie. Golf, same thing. Wins and losses. The way you're hitting the ball, it doesn't lie. It tells the college coaches what's going on. But football, basketball, baseball, field hockey, lacrosse, all of these team sports, it's a little bit more difficult. So a lot more goes into it. You take a sport like baseball, running from home to first is a big thing at the college level. Throwing is a big thing at the college level.
Right.
Hitting the ball is a big thing at the college level. Catching, big thing. Football is a little bit different. So the speed, a 40-yard dash is big at the college level. How high can you jump? How much can you bench press? Those are just some of the things in football and baseball. Basketball, height becomes a big factor. If you're 5'6" and you're trying to get into a big-time name school, the odds are going to be against you because those schools don't really pick up a 5'6" type of player, right? But if you're 6'6" and you want to go to those schools, if you have a lot of the athletic ability, you're going to get into a big-time name school just because of the height factor, right? Because basketball is based off of the height. Lacrosse is a little bit different. So you have to have the things to make you something at the college level. So if you're a lacrosse player or a field hockey player and you have a lot of goals, or a soccer player and you're scoring a lot, well, the odds are you're going to get recognized more. If you're not doing much of anything and you're just in the game just to be in the game, well, you're more of a player that wants to go to a smaller type school, because the smaller type schools, they need people too, right? They just like a basketball player at a Division III school, they can be 5'5", 5'6". You'll find the 5'5", 5'6" players at a Division III type school because they're smaller schools. They can't find those 6'9" players. The only 6'8", 6'9" player that'll go to a Division III type school is the one that might be a little bit awkward, right? Doesn't know how to shoot the basket that well, but yet wants to go play, but just doesn't have the athletic ability to play at a big Division I type of school, right? So they'll get those type of kids to go to those Division III type schools. And the other difference between a Division I and Division III is, of course, Division I gives you the scholarships. Division III does not. They work out some type of money to make it reasonable enough for you to come to school there.
Okay. Initiative, I'm sure, is a very important factor that students have to take and not rely on everybody else to do it for them. Do you recommend students writing to a specific coach, say at a college, and saying, Coach, this is me, this is what I've done, and here you go. I just want to, put my name on your radar.
Yeah. So the more you can do that, the better. Visiting the school on your own, making a phone call on your own. I mean, if you think back, at 15, 16, 17 years old, how many kids will actually pick up the phone and make an adult phone call to a coach and say, hey, I'm interested in coming to your school. I just wanted to talk to you and say, I want to come to your school. There's not many. They're just afraid to do it.
And in this world of emails, everybody will hide behind the email and just send it out and think that's good enough.
Right. An email will just get an email back.
Saying thank you.
A phone call, if you're a junior going into your senior year, you might actually get a phone call back. If you're a freshman, you might not get any calls back. You just might leave a message. But at least you'll get on somebody's radar just by saying, hey, I'm interested in coming to your school.
Okay. Any other advice that you would give anybody watching the show right now who's considering applying to college and, looking for some advice?
Well, there's a couple of things. If you want to use a recruiting service, there are thousands of recruiting services, some that are really big, some that are really small. So that's the first thing. Second thing is start as early as possible. And I don't mean, kindergarten. I mean a normal age of,
Right.
eighth, ninth grade, that kind of stuff. So those are two things. Another thing that you might want to do is market yourself. If you're not using a third party, you should be doing a resume of your own and sending it out to colleges and telling them about yourself and what you're doing.
Right.
And those are the three things that I would advise people on.
Great. So Anthony, thank you so much. It's been a great interview, both the first part and the second part. And remember, Amazon, Anthony Uva, The Secrets of College Planning for Student Athletes. Get the book. It's only $9.95. It's not going to bust your budget. It's going to give you a lot of information about what you need to know. And if you have any questions, contact Anthony. He'd be more than happy to answer your questions and direct you to the appropriate source. And if necessary, I say this positively, hold your hand so that you're going in the right way, because he's helped a lot of students, University Seekers has, and so take advantage of his knowledge, knowledge not just of the process, but of the people, and the people make the decisions. So Anthony, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's always good to see you. Good luck
Thank
with
you.
your show, and I want to see Volume 2 coming out pretty soon,
Thank you. Lou. I
my
appreciate
success
it.
stories, and
I hope so. That's the goal.
that is the goal. Anyway, I'm Lou Goldstein. Thanking you for watching part 2 of my interview with Anthony Uva, best-selling author, and hopefully we'll see you next time with another individual, basically to talk about something that you should know and to provide a resource to you with some information. Until that time, once again, I'm Lou Goldstein. Stay healthy, stay active, stay engaged, and stay focused. And we'll see you next week on another edition of Focus On. Have a good night.